Okay, guys, you've made it to week 2. So this is week 2 in Rachel's Mind Body Exploration Practice, and it should be day 1, 2, or 3 of this week. And we will be talking about our head-tail connectivity. So talking about the head and through your spinal column all the way to your tail or your tailbone. So we'll begin today by lying on your back with your feet on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. Inhale fully, allowing your abdomen to bulge or lift as if it had lungs. As you exhale, in your mind's eye, watch your breath flow toward your head as if it were being moved through your center core along streams which run along the pathway of your inner abdominals and then continue forming one river which flows through the valley of your chest, down a slight hill at your neck, and continues at your head as your head flows away from your neck like a ball floating away on top of the river. This image will allow your abdominal muscles to fall back and in towards your spine and your head to feel supported as you do the following movement. At the very end of your exhalation, as the river has reached your head, let both your head and your tail begin to reach out away from your center core and toward the ceiling. This movement will bring your head and tail, or your tailbone, off the floor into a curve, which lengthens the back of your spine and allows you to strengthen your internal abdominals. If you can't lift off very far, that's totally fine. Simply feel the energy coming from your head and tail that encourages a lifting motion, just upward. Make sure that you are not bringing your head and tail together by bunching up your muscles in the front of your torso. This overuse of your front abdominal muscles will not serve your internal support, which is really vital to connection. In your mind's eye, watch your head and tail reach away from each other as they rise off the floor, as if someone were embracing and supporting the length of your spine along the back surface of your body. Your spine will be curving, but the curve will feel like it is lengthening your torso rather than shortening it. And you can do this a few times with lifting up and then releasing back into the floor and lifting up again and then releasing again. And do that a few times. Okay, now let's try another way to flex the spine, which will include side-to-side movements. Begin in the same position as the first exercise, but this time imagine that you are very flat, lying on a glass surface with another glass surface just barely above your torso. So ignore your knees, which will be above the plate of glass in this instance, but we'll be focusing on our torso. Again, at the end of your exhalation, let your head and tail simultaneously reach to swing to the left, pulling your torso into a lengthening C-shaped curve if viewed from above. So your head and tail move to one side, but your torso remains grounded where it is. Allow your movement to be free and sense how you remain flat. Your whole spine will be participating in an easy way, facilitating the curve through all the vertebrae. Play with going to the other side. Remember that your hips, which I'll refer to as your pelvis, will not roll onto its side because you are sliding easily between two planes of glass. Breathe into the entire back surface of your torso as you do this. And do this a few times on each side, and even in sequence, one side leading into the other. Now let's add the element of spinal rotation in relation to the body. Begin laying on your back as you did before. Again, watch the streams flow toward your head as you exhale. As the river reaches your head, begin to turn your head and your whole upper body to your right, at the same time as you turn your tail and your knees toward the left. Your head and tail will again be releasing from the floor, creating a lengthening curve as we did in the beginning of this exercise. But this time, your spine will be twisting into a long spiral. If this is too difficult, reach your left arm across your body and let it twist your upper body to the right a little bit. This movement is wonderful for strengthening your abdominal muscles that cross your torso in your internal core. Check to be sure you're not grabbing the muscle in the front of your abdomen. It should not be bulging up. If it is, stop, then start the movement over at the end of the exhalation. This type of head and tail connectivity with support through the center core is extremely important in more complex movement. At the end of this extension, release your body back into its original position and try on the left side. And you might want to try a few times on the right and left, using your inhalation and exhalation. Okay, this is the end of our exercise for today of our head-tail connectivity. But during the day, it might interest you to be aware of this connection as you bend down to pick something up. Your head tends to release and your tail tends to curve underneath you. If that doesn't happen, then what is happening? It'd be interesting to think about or to notice. This is also present when you go to sit down into a chair. Your tail reaches out and finds its position of support. Then the rest of your body follows, with your head being the last part of your body to stack on top of your spine.